Hello, this is Steve Kolb. I'm coming to you today from the shores of the Big Dry Creek and the Westminster Broomfield area where it's almost always sunny. And I took that tagline from one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to quite frequently. This is the Calvary Briefing from Calvary Church of Broomfield. And I wanted to just let you know that this is Holy Week, and I wanted to remind you of some things that are coming up. You'll be getting an email tomorrow, our midweek email. There'll be a children's newsletter coming out, and then on Friday, you'll be getting a link for our Good Friday service, and Saturday, a link for our Easter Sunday morning service. So it's an exciting week, and I want to encourage you to not let this opportunity slip through your fingers. There are opportunities to invite people, even if it's just to our online community. And wouldn't it be great that when we do come to meet again physically, that there would be more people there than there were when we actually stopped meeting together. And so please use this week to reach out to people who need some good news, who need some hope. I wanted to share with you some things that I read that were very interesting from a couple of pastors in Italy. And they wrote about surviving in quarantine, and they had 10 suggestions. And coming from these pastors who are really in the thick of it, in much more challenging circumstances than most of us are in, I thought these were very significant. And I'm just going to read off the big headlines that they had over each one of their major points. Number one, to survive during a time of quarantine, delight in God's grace and in being gracious. We all know Ephesians 2:8, we are saved by grace. Take opportunities to just relish that grace and to also be gracious to those around you. Secondly, take one day at a time. Jesus reminds us of that in Matthew 6. Don't worry about tomorrow, but take advantage of today. Third, speak to yourself. Why are you so downcast, O my soul? You might remember the psalmist said. Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones once wrote, have you realized that most of your unhappiness in life is due to the fact that you are listening to yourself instead of talking to yourself? And so speak to yourself during this time of quarantine. Fourth, stop what you're doing and read the Bible. There is no substitute for hearing from God during these times. Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. Fifth, stay calm and pray. These pastors in Italy know what happens on a day-by-day basis. There's a lot of panic and a lot of dread, and yet they remind us in quarantine, stay calm and pray. Sixth, stay in touch. It is difficult to not be together and to not be able to go out to lunch with people, to not be able to be closer than 6 feet to people, but yet there are ways that we can stay in touch. I'm amazed at my phone and email and all of the opportunities that are there. We can even use things like Zoom, which allow you to have online meetings with people and actually see them and talk to them. Stay in touch. Seventh, and I need this, regulate your news intake. 8, delineate work from family and rest time. It can become kind of a big circle when you work from home. Everything just becomes one big activity. It's helpful, these pastors say, during times of quarantine to separate your time into different categories. 9th, establish personal space. Even if you are in cramped quarters, it's important that you be able to have a little space to yourself, at least for a minute or two each day. And then 10th, exercise. Paul reminded Timothy that physical training is of some value. Godliness holds value both for this life and the life to come. But physical training is of some value. Over all of this, these pastors in Italy say the most important thing is to cling to Christ. I was reminded of the words of Paul as he wrote to the Colossians as he closes out chapter 3. He writes, "Here there is not Greek and Jew, circumcised and uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, slave or free, but Christ is all and in all." Let's keep clinging to Christ. Let's keep reminding each other to cling to Christ. And let's take advantage of this Holy Week and reach out and encourage others to cling to Christ. Thanks for watching. Have a great week.